I recently shared a project featuring textured embossing paste, and some of my ladies in class were curious about different ways to use the product. So today I am showing how we can colour and add a little bit of sparkle to the paste. Yeah, if you can see it there. With this little magical day card. So I've got 2 packs of my textured embossing paste, and this one seems like it's almost dried out. I think it's about 6 months old. I bought it when Stampin' Up! First released the paste. So I don't know how this is going to quite turn out because it feels a bit dry. But I've got a little bit of paste that I've got in an old takeaway container. And I'm going to add a few drops of Smoky Slate ink refill. And a little bit of this old Dazzling Diamonds. You can add just a little bit of the dry diamonds that's now currently available. It won't matter. I'm going to give that a mix and see how we go. Kind of want to get that colour evenly through there. I've just mixed that all around, trying to get it as evenly distributed as possible. And now I've got a piece of this dark basic grey cardstock, and I've got my brick mask there, and I'm going to spread that across. And hopefully it's not too dry to get a good result. Just going for like a random spread through here. All the way down. Pick my excess back off. I'm just going to quickly run and clean up these tools so that they don't get ruined. So I've just ducked off quickly to clean up my tools, and I've come back and this panel is already dry enough to work with. So I've applied some tape to the back and I'm sitting that so that it borders on my Smoky Slate card base. Next it's time to add a few embellishments. So I've got this piece of white cardstock. It's just a strip of white card, and I'm going to add my sentiment to that. For this I'm going to use my markers so that I can get that two-toned sentiment. The stamps that I'm working with today are these Magical Day stamps, and I've picked up the Hope Your Day is Magical sentiment. I'm using my grey marker to cover the first line, and I'm doing the magical using the pumpkin pie marker. I'm just going to give that a little huff and puff like you might on your sunglasses before you clean them up. And I'm going towards the right side, and there's my two-tone sentiment. And I'm going to stick that one on, not with dimensionals, but with foam adhesive strips. So I've got these foam adhesive strips, and the reason I'm using those as opposed to dimensionals is because I do have this background now that has a lot of texture in it, and I'm worried that if I pop dimensionals over my bricks, they're going to end up sitting a bit wavy. The whole design is going to end up sitting a little wavy. So I've got these strips here, cutting 3 to size. And I'm just looking at where I want them. I'm going to use my other card as a guide. And I'm going to line that up in between the brickwork all the way along. And I'm going to do that again across the bottom. In between the brickwork there. That's going to give me a really nice hold and lift across the full panel. And there we have it. So the next thing that I'm going to add is the little dragon embellishment. Now I designed this particular card for class, and the main technique that I wanted to share was this lovely brickwork, and then I wanted to embellish it for them. So I've pre-cut with the layering circles die this piece of real red, which has been stamped with the dragon from the Magical Day stamp set, and heat set with a white embossing powder and the heat tool. So that's going to go flat on there. And then I've pre-cut this little piece of white. It's just the same Whisper white, and I've pre-cut it with the stitched shapes framelit circle, and that one's going to go over here. So I'm going to stamp that one with our Brave Knight. And I'm using the archival grey for this. And he fits really nicely in the middle, just there. Now I'm going to use the watercolour pencils to add a pop of colour. Those colours have now been roughly applied, and I'm going to use a blender pen to bring them together. So there's my little knight. I'm going to pop him up on dimensionals, but first I'm going to just add one more little touch of texture, and that's with a ribbon in behind him. So I've got this huge box of retired ribbons in my collection, and I wanted to use some of them up where I can in projects in class, and this is one example of how I've done that. So that'll go about like that. And for this, because the ribbon is going to be hidden behind an embellishment, I'm just going to use a really ordinary piece of tape to hold that in place. I'm going to work out where I want that ribbon to sit. And then I'm going to use this bit of tape to hold it in place. And then I'm going to put a dimensional on each side of that ribbon, because I want it to sit up over the ribbon but as flat as possible. I might cut like a half cut over here, just over on that side. just position that knight in place there over the ribbon on those dimensional pieces. I'm trimming that a little bit. And there we have it, a project that features that really cute Magical Day stamp set, but also shows off this lovely textured embossing paste technique. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for joining me.